Hey everyone, it's Inigo here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a video on verb types for you. I have to say I've been struggling to make this video, so hopefully this goes well. Yeah, in the Finnish language there are 6 different groups that verbs are all placed into. They all have different endings and they're all used slightly differently. So verb types are used to kind of help you put them into different categories and have some defined rules on how to use all of these verbs. Admittedly, Finnish people don't really know verb types and they don't really use them in the way that a foreigner or someone that uses Finnish as an additional language would. They just kind of pick up these patterns like as a native speaker. So verb types will probably be something that someone that's learned Finnish as an additional language will know. If you are learning Finnish, hopefully you're familiar with the term at least, or the idea. Personally for me, I never had a real good lesson on verb types, and I didn't learn verb types until at least after 1 year of studying. And it wasn't a teacher that told me, it was a fellow student that told me as well. And after they told me, then I really was like, oh, okay, like that finally makes sense. But for me, there's like quite a lot of rules, and it just didn't feel natural to kind of think of all of these different rules until I now know these maybe more simple rules that kind of helps me. But yeah, you don't really necessarily have to know them, and I just sort of learnt the patterns for the first year, and I became fairly efficient at kind of using Finnish without knowing the verb types. But probably it is useful and helpful to know. So I'm going to make probably 6 different videos after this, going through all of the different verb types and explaining how to use all of the different verb types in more detail in different forms, so present tense, past tense, perfect tense, and so forth. But today I just want to kind of go over all the verb types and help you like identify all of the different verb types and recognize when you see a verb quickly how to determine which verb type it's in. I would also say something I learned again intuitively myself. I didn't get taught this, but all verb types in the basic form. So you don't have a personal ending like an N for like my ending. So any verb in a basic form will have an A at the end of the verb. So it might help you to know that all verbs in the Finnish language end in an A, at least when they're in a basic form. And that might help you when you're reading, for example, if there's a word that ends in an A. You might not know what that verb means, but you might at least be able to identify, oh, that's a verb being used there. Okay, I'll go through all the verb types. As I said, there's 6 of them. The first one is verb type 1, obviously. And to recognize verb type 1 is quite simple. You're just looking for any word or verb that ends in 2 vowels. And obviously that second vowel will be an A, but as I said, also. So the rule for this is typically it's 2 vowels and the last vowel is an A. And that is quite more confusing than it needs to be in my head. Because all vowels end in an A, I don't really need to know that the second vowel is an A and it's 2 vowels. All I think about personally is any verb that ends in 2 vowels, it's verb type 1, okay? So just keep it simple. It's any verb that ends in 2 vowels. So some examples of this, you've got katsoa, ostaa, lukea, viettää. So all of these, I'm sure I'll put these here on the side. All of these verbs end in 2 vowels, so therefore you can quickly recognize that this is verb type 1. Verb type 2, this is the easiest by far. So there's only one possible ending for this, and it's DA or DR. So some examples of verb type 2, you've got juoda, suoda, myydä, imuroida. So again, I'll put these here, but quite easy, simple to recognize these are verb type 2. And being in the same verb type means all of these verbs get used in the same way. So the next is verb type 3. Again, this is one that there's a rule for this verb type, which I learned, I didn't learn, but I got taught, and it really put me off trying to learn it because it sounds way too complicated. So verb type 3, the official rule will be any verb that ends in a L sta, na, or ra. So any verb that has those endings will be verb type 3. Personally, the way that I think about verb type 3 is just any verbs that ends in 2 consonants and a vowel. I'm quite sure that any verbs ending 2 consonants and a vowel are verb type 3, and I'll go over the examples that I've written down to show this. So the first one is besta, mennä, kävellä, and nousta. So besta, mennä, kävellä, and nousta. So you can see the la, sta, na, and ra endings work here in verb type 3, but also besta is 2 consonants and a vowel, mennä 2 consonants and a vowel, kävellä, lla 2 consonants and a vowel, nousta, sta 2 consonants and a vowel. So for me, when I think about verb type 3, I just think any verb that ends in 2 consonants and a vowel is going to be verb type 3. Verb type 4 is slightly difficult. So there's 3 different possible endings. It's ata, ota, and uta. Personally, I think most of them end in ata, but also obviously good to know that there's ota and uta as well. But typically these are mostly ata endings. So I'll give you some examples. You've got tavata, pelata, lainata, siivota, and haluta. So this is verb type 4. Verb type 5 is, again, quite an easy one. There's only one ending. So this is ita, okay, or ita. So you've got hairita, valita, tarvita, and markita. So all of these end in an ita or ita ending. And this might help you identify whether it's verb type 4 or verb type 5. So verb type 6 is very rare. I wouldn't be confident to tell you how verb type 6 works without kind of remembering and reminding myself and looking into it. So typically there'll be some verb that ends in TA and then another vowel before the TA. If it's not ita, then I'm usually quite confident it's going to be verb type 4, so ata, ota, uta. So hopefully this makes sense what I'm saying, but there's a few different verb endings that are similar. So ata, ota, uta, ita. Ita has its own group, verb type 5, and is used differently to the others. And because these two are so much more common than verb type 6, which will come next, usually I'm only trying to identify, is it an ita, verb type 5? If it's not, then it's probably verb type 4. So verb type 6, as I said, this is very rare. This is eta, eta endings. So you've got kulmeta, vanheta, bimeta, ruveta. Okay, so these are verb type 6, ends in eta. As I said, this isn't a verb type that I'm super familiar with or confident with. A lot of the verbs I've not seen before, I've not used before, whereas the others are a lot more common. So probably, from verb type 1 to 5, this is the bulk of the verbs that you'll use in Finnish. And even when you use verb type 6, verb type 6 is kind of weird and used in a weird way in the present form and the past tense, positive past tense. But in the perfect form, pluscuamperfect, it's used in the same ways as 4 and 5. So verb type 6, it's not too important because it's so rare. And in many ways, when you use this verb type, it's similar to 4 and 5. But okay, this is my video on all of the different verb types. I'll just go over the endings again. So verb type 1 will be 2 vowels. The endings will be 2 vowels. Verb type 2 will end in da, da. Verb type 3, it's la, sta, na, or ra, but for me, it's just 2 consonants and then an a or a. Verb type 4 is ata, ota, uta. So this is one that you probably need to try and remember. Typically, I would say it's ata. So when you're looking at verbs in verb type 4, usually ata, I think, is more common of the 3 within that group. Then verb type 5, you have ita, ita. And like I said before, usually I'll try and see, is it ita? If it's not ita, then it's probably verb type 4. And then verb type 6 is eta, eta. Okay, so these are all the different verb types. I'm going to try and make the next 6 videos fairly quickly and kind of go over the usage of all of these different verb types in different forms. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope to see you again soon.